Hello Year 9s, we're continuing with our solving equations today. We're going to look at solving two-step equations. So it's going to be like two parts of yesterday's lesson all rolled up in one. Your starter is like usual, 10 questions for you to complete either in your exercise book, on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, wherever it is that you have space to do your work these days. All right, you go ahead and try those 10 questions, pause the video, and I will be right with you with the answers. Alright, here are your answers to the starter. The only one, I made a mistake. The square root of 100 is not 100. The square root of 100 is 10. The only other one that could be a bit of an issue is question 9. You do have to have all four of those factors in order for that to be correct. Alright, let's take a look at solving two-step equations. So just like yesterday, we want to find out how much is the letter in the question so that it makes the whole sentence true. So the first question says, solve 2y take away 1 is equal to 13. So we're looking for 2 times by something, take away 1, and the answer that we get is 13. So we're going to keep the 2y attached to each other, because right now it's attached to each other, so it's just going to live together in this blue square. What I want to do first is I want to get rid of this 1. So I can do that by adding 1 to both sides. When I do that, I'm left with 2y is equal to 14. Now, this looks just like a one-step equation from yesterday. This now says 2 times by something is equal to 14. So I can very easily do divide by 2 on both sides, and then I can end up with y is equal to 7. And there we go. The question's finished. I've solved my equation. Okay, 2 times by 7 is 14. 14 take away 1 is 13. That is the correct answer. In the next example, I'll show you my working in a different color, and then I'll do my writing out in blue, so you can see what are the thought processes in my head and what is the bit that I actually need to write down. So for the next question, I've got 4x take away 1 is equal to 7. So my first thought process is I need to get the 4x to stay together, and I need to get rid of the minus 1. I can get rid of the minus 1 by adding 1 to both sides. All right, and then from there, when I add that on, I'm left with 4x is equal to 8. So that looks just like a two-step, or just like a one-step equation from yesterday. It says 4 times by something is equal to 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I'm left with x is equal to 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and there's my final answer. Okay, so the red bits are the parts of my working out that I'm doing in my head, and then the blue bits are the parts that I have to write down. I don't have to write down the red parts, but they're really important as well. All right, let's try one that's a little bit different, I guess. All right, so same examples, or same ideas as last time, but different numbers in the examples. So we've got 4 times by x plus 3 is equal to 19. So we want to keep the 4x together. And we can keep the 4x together, and we can get rid of the plus 3 by subtracting 3. So we can subtract 3 from both sides, and when we do that, we're left with the 4x that stayed together, and now we've got 4x is equal to 16. Now this is a one-step equation. We can divide both sides by 4, and 16 divided by 4 gives me 4. There's my answer. X is equal to 4. And I can also check back here, 4 times by 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 more is equal to 19. Sounds good. All right, let's try the next one. Here we've got 2y plus 3 is equal to 8. So we're going to keep the 2y together, and then we want to get rid of the plus 3. We can do that by subtracting 3 from both sides. So if I've done that, the 2y stays exactly as it is. 8 take away 3 is 5. And now I've got 2 times by something is equal to 5. So I can do the inverse, and I can divide both sides by 2. And I'm left with y is equal to 2.5. Right? You are allowed to get decimals as your answer. You can also leave it as a fraction. If you wanted to leave it as y is equal to 5 over 2, that would be acceptable. You can also leave it as a mixed number, so 2.5 is also a fine answer. So either 2.5, 5 halves, or 2.5. any answer is absolutely fine. All right, let's look at what happens when we have even more negatives. All right, in this first example, we don't have anything fancy happening. We just have a negative. So we've got 4x take away 1 is equal to negative 13. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do plus 1 on both sides so we can get rid of the minus 1. When we do that, we're left with just 4x. And then on the right-hand side, we've got minus 13 plus 1. So it's really cold, it's minus 13 out, and then it gets warmer by 1 degree. So that is minus 12. And then what we want to do is we had this exact same question yesterday. We've got 4x is equal to negative 12, so we can actually just divide both sides by 4 to give us x is equal to minus 3. Okay, you need to be careful in questions like this. This question here had a negative 12, so the answer is also going to be a negative because we divided by a positive number. All right, so in this example, we had the negative started out in the question. In the next example, it doesn't look like anything crazy, but the craziness will come in one step. So in the second example, we've got 2x plus 5 is equal to 3. So the 2x stays together, and we can get rid of the 5 by subtracting 5 from both sides. So we're left with 2x is equal to 3 take away 5. Be careful of that order. 3 take away 5 is minus 2. Okay, you can't just lose the negatives because you don't like them. We now have 2x is equal to minus 2. So we've got to divide both sides by 2 to do the opposite of times by 2. And we're left with x is equal to, what is minus 2 divided by 2? Hopefully you said it was minus 1, because that would be the answer. All right, and then there we go. Question's completely finished. Our answer is x is equal to minus 1. We're absolutely allowed to have negatives as answers. We're also allowed to have decimals as answers. I think I'm going to do one more example where the answer is a decimal, and then that's it for today. All right, final example from me. I'm going to do this example over here on the right. It says 4 plus 2x is equal to 11. Now, it's absolutely fine that the x is in a different place this time. So this time the plus 2x has to stay together. It's going to stay inside that blue rectangle. This 4 is a positive 4. So we need to think about how can we get rid of this 4 so that the 2x in the blue rectangle can stay all by itself. Hopefully you're thinking we should do subtract 4 from both sides. I absolutely agree. If we do that, we're just left with the 2x. 2x is then equal to 7. So now we've got 2 times by something is equal to 7. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we end up with x is equal to 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. All right, totally acceptable to have a decimal as your answer. All right, that is all from me for today. So that is solving two-step equations. So there's always 2 things to do, and that's pretty much it. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.